Your website should be reflective of the issues, the deep issues and problems that people have that they are not aware of or that they want a solution to. This is the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast for entrepreneurs and business owners looking for cool online tools, apps and strategies to make business easy online. My name is Nik Cree and I'm your host. Each episode features a guest expert demystifying the online universe, sharing inspirational ideas and providing tested real-world strategies to help you get the most of what's available online to grow your business today. Don't be a slave to your business. Get your business working for you. Subscribe now and get some great content and ideas for you and your business today. All right, well, look, next part of this segment here. Now, the reason why we're running a website improvement clinic here today is we did have a speaker lined up and they had to pull out last minute because they had some emergency come up. So I have stepped into the fray to hopefully deliver some value and help with something that's going to be helpful and useful for you. So this segment here really, and this is a question that I get asked quite often is, why is my website not converting? What can I do to generate more leads and inquiries through the website, or things like I'm not getting found on Google. How do I get myself up on Google? And of course, all of these things, it's not just one thing. It is a reasonably complex area, and there are a number of different steps and strategies to follow to get you up there. And it's a bit like an iceberg. What you see on people's websites, or what you see in social media, or what you see online in Google search, is only a small portion of what you do underneath to get it to that position. So there are lots and lots of little moving parts in there to get yourself to be visible online. So anyone sort of feel that, or anyone ever feel a wee bit puzzled or frustrated or even perplexed as to how to generate more leads and inquiries, or to get yourself more visible out there? Anyone in that position?
I get unsolicited people sending me messages saying that my website is not performing, and, happy to send you a proposal and get you #1 on Google and Yahoo and everything else. And I've got no idea whether they're genuine or not, and whether they can actually do what they say.
Yeah.
So I haven't fallen for any of them yet.
Good. Well, my advice with that is, as soon as you get those emails, delete them, because if that's how they're soliciting for business, something's not right with their business. So, and generally a lot of those you will find are coming from outsourced outfits over in overseas, and some of those places are they're like sweatshops. They're web sweatshops, and all they're really interested in is getting your business and getting you to pay for it. And generally, often the results are not that great. And what you've got to watch out for that are some black hat techniques, which can actually harm your website. That'll work in the short term, but in the long term they will harm your website. So one of the common things is getting backlinks, lots and lots of backlinks to your website. It's called off-page SEO, or off-page search engine optimization. It's great to get backlinks to your website, but it's not good to have what they call spammy backlinks that are coming from porn sites or crypto sites, or what they call web farms as well. It used to work in the old days. These days it actually kills your website. So it is quite the reverse. So, and there are still outfits out there offering that sort of thing, which is what you'll find with some of those emails as well. And if you're none the wiser, you don't know that what they're doing is damaging your site and is not actually working, because it looks like it's working in the first instance, and by the time it's damages your site, they're well gone. You're in the position of, how do I fix this thing now? So so that's a really good point, Annie. Anyone else Fred? For some reason can't hear you there, Fred. Maybe your mic has been unplugged there somewhere along the way. No, that's no better. Oh, there we go.
You hear me now?
Yes, gotcha.
Okay, Zoom playing up again. I was okay when I came in, and then suddenly nothing changed, but Zoom did. Yeah, I was going to say that I second exactly what you're saying, because obviously I'm in that game, but I get repeated emails every day of people telling me that, we can optimize your website and do everything else. And they obviously haven't looked at anything. It's just a blanket email that they send out to thousands of people, haven't looked at anything and hoping to suck people in. So just be careful of who you deal with, I suppose, is the lesson in that. And, you were talking about off-page SEO with backlinks. Totally agree. I mean, one of the things Google looks for is backlinks that don't really reflect what you're doing. So there's no point in having a backlink to a massage parlor promotion if you're doing, some kind of education in a different arena. So the backlinks have to be relevant to your business as well. So, you get a lot of them where they just get a backlink on a university site, and yes, it used to have credibility. That's no longer the case. So there's a lot in it. You just got to be very careful about who you deal with and what they're offering.
Absolutely, and that's a really good point you make there too. In that, some of the things that did used to work, like some of those backlinks for universities, whatever, they don't work anymore because Google changes the rules because they realise that people are trying to game the system. All right, so I think probably the first place really to start with your optimizing your website is not with the website. And the mistake that I often see people make is that, if you get into business, what's the first thing you say? Well, I need a website. That is probably I was going to say it's the last thing they need. It's not the last thing, but it's certainly not the first thing they need. It's a little way down the track. The very first thing that you need is you need to understand what it is that you're offering. But before you understand what it is you're offering, you need to understand who is it that you are serving. Like, who are the people that are your potential clients or customers? Where are they? And you've probably heard all this stuff before. Where are they? Where do they hang out? What are their issues, pains, problems? And how do you address those, or how do your solution address that? Now, there is a process or something that humans do that is unhelpful when we're doing this research, and that is they don't tell us everything. So they hide some things from us about how they're really feeling, and it's and what they really want as well too. So what a lot of marketing companies will do is that they'll do a bit of research to find out what people want, and they'll really touch the surface layer. So it's like, what do we got? Who have we got here? We've got Aldrin, for instance. So she's media, right? So you help people to get free publicity. And so if you think about that there, what is it that people are looking for? Why are they coming to you for free publicity?
They want to build their authority, their trust, their influence. They want more leads and sales as well. And they want to build their brand. They're some of the main things.
So why do they want to do that specifically?
Because when they're trusted more, they'll get more clients and their business will grow, and they'll make a bigger difference in the world too. So some people want to leave a legacy. They want to get a certain message out or support a cause. There's a few different reasons, but generally in business, they want more leads and sales.
More leads and sales. And so if you look at more leads and sales, why is that a priority? Well, like, why are they coming to you to get more leads and sales and not something else?
Because it's organic marketing. They're not wasting money on advertising. It's 3 to 8 times more powerful than advertising. It's worth a lot more than the spray and pray method that a lot of people use with ads. And so it's actually educating people on ways that they can get their story out for free without wasting money on ads.
Okay, so the key point in there is that they've probably spent money on ads, and they've probably spent more than they've got back, or the return on investment hasn't been very good, and so they're looking for something that is, I suppose, free in that sort of sense. They're perceived to be free. It's going to be easier to, and they're not wasting their money because they've had a bad experience with it. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. And for some people, ads work. So I'm not saying don't do ads at all, although This is something that a lot of people are not using in their marketing mix that is so incredibly powerful. And there's millions of opportunities, and there's many ways we can help change the world by sharing our message and sharing our truth.
Yeah. So if you see what I did there, it was really asking why questions all the way down to find out why is that important. Why do people want that? Why is it that that they've got that? And when you keep asking those why questions, you'll drill down to what people really think or what they really want. So the best place to find what it is that people really want is to ask them, and just to keep asking, why questions. Why is that important? And really keep getting down to the, and you'll find in there is a core belief or a core issue or problem that they want to address. Does that make sense? So these are in your, for want of a better word, your sales conversations. So if you don't think of it as a sales conversation, you're thinking of it as a discovery conversation. How can you discover what's under the issues that are underlying that they won't tell you, when you first talk to them? Does that make sense? So if we think about, who else have we got here? Fred, for you, I mean, you're dealing with local business there. What's your point of difference, or what is it you're doing that they want?
Well, I suppose the same as every business. Like every business wants more money. Now, whether that's generated through leads or contracts or whatever it is, like that's the ultimate. Like they want more cash flow.
Yeah.
Right? So what we do is we help them generate leads, and that's by getting the message out there so people see what they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
So,
and when I say I concentrate, like one of the first, I was interested when you said the first thing you should do before you actually start promoting yourself. I was just like, I had my ear really listening to what you were going to say, and you went down a different path, because I agree with you that people don't necessarily need a website day one, right? For me, the thing we work on is your Google My Business page, day one, right? So before I work with any client on any topic, I build their business My Google page, get that sorted, get that optimized, get that happening, and then we drive leads to a website. So that's the start of the lead generation. So you've got whatever tool it is, whether it's you're using Facebook, you go to Facebook and you can go into all the groups and you can drive them to your Facebook profile. But unless you've got a call to action on that image that sits up the top of your profile, you're not going to get any benefit out of doing that. So no matter what lead generation tool you're using, you've got to have a game in mind of what the outcome is, what you expect. So, people talk about free lead generation with Facebook by going into Google or going into Facebook groups and, making comments, and then people, and I agree with it. If people make comments in there, then somebody's going to look at your profile. But if there's nothing on your profile that tells them about what you do, it's a whole wasted effort. So you've got to make sure you've got your game plan in place of where you start, what the middle bit is, and what the outcome you expect is, no matter what platform you're using to promote yourself, whether that's Google, whether it's Pinterest, whether it's Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever it is. There's got to be, this is how I'm going to generate the leads, this is what I'm going to nurture the leads, and this is how I'm going to convert the leads, and this is how I'm going to turn it into money. Right?
Yeah.
So they've all got to be in place no matter what platform you use.
Excellent. And I'm glad you mentioned Google My Business. That's a little bit further down the track from discovering, who your customer is and what their real issues are. But I would 100% agree that, Google My Business profile is going to be before your website, because that's how people are going to find you to start with. So who here's got a Google My Business profile? Who's claimed their profile? Okay. If you haven't, that would be the first thing I would do when you leave this session tonight. It's super easy to do. Just go to Google My Business. Well, just Google My Business, and then type in your business name. Often it's there, and you just need to claim it. And once you've claimed it, you've got your profile, and then there's a process there to go through and optimize it. But at the very least, you should claim that profile, for the very reason that in Google search, Google has a section there which is what was Google Maps, and that's what appears on pretty much every search page. And so if people are looking for what you do and what your services are, once you start to optimize your Google My Business profile, then it will appear in that search area. So yeah, 100%.
Can anyone answer my question in regards to Google My Business? Because I'm guilty of this, but you're meant to update it with posts every week, aren't you?
Yes. So I think the post longevity there is 2 weeks, I believe. So it's a bit like stories, and Google wants you to keep updating them every 2 weeks. So you need to have new content there every 2 weeks. And so there are social media tools out there. It can be the same content as well too. So you can repeat the content. Because it disappears, you can just come and repeat it. And that's fine. So you might have a quarter's worth of content, for 3 months, and you cycle through that, and then you come back the next quarter, and then you cycle through that same content as well too. Because people won't have seen the content, that get there, and from Google's point of view, it's still, you've still got new activity on there as well too. Brad.
Yeah, on that, you've also got now the opportunity to have messaging in there as well, so people can message you directly now from Google My Business, and you can also put your products for sale up there as well. So they've added a lot more functionality to it's no longer just a listing of your business. There's a lot more opportunities there to get your name out there. And just as a matter of interest, Google loves Google.
Yes.
So no matter when you start populating Google assets, no matter whether it's Google My Business or YouTube or whatever it is, they love that content, and they will give you a lot of kudos for it.
And there are also some tools out there, social media management tools. I was just thinking, I think Hello Woofy. If you Google Hello Woofy, that is a social media tool which will post to Google My Business, and you can schedule posts to be posted repetitively. So you might have the same post going every quarter. A tool like that will automate that process for you as well too. But it doesn't take a lot of time to do it if you schedule it into your calendar.
One thing that they don't do very well is updating changes of address. Just over 7 weeks now since I've moved. 4 times I've submitted a request for change of address. 4 times they've said, we'll post you a postcard which will arrive in less than 6 days, so that you can then get the code off it to type in. It's ridiculous.
So no postcard for you yet.
7 weeks, 4 attempts.
Yeah. Actually, Jeff, you had an issue there with Google My Business, I think, for a while there, didn't you, with these postcards?
Yeah, well, they still haven't come through. And they were punishing people because of changes that were made. One was just change of address, and another one was just a post that they objected to. So I'm trying to get them back online at the moment.
Yeah, one of the things that has happened with Google is that they've had substantial delays in addressing things like approving reviews. People leave a review for you. They've had delays in that there, had delays in support, obviously delays by the sound of things in getting those postcards out as well too. It was due to COVID, but I'm not so sure it's due to that anymore. They might be just overwhelmed with the amount of work coming through.
Yeah.
The amazing thing is that when I did my change of address, the postcard came within 5 days.
Oh, there you go.
Never struck that before.
Yeah.
Well, I did. Question there, Jeff. Did it come to your new address or to your old address?
I came to my new address.
No, yeah.
It has to come to the new address.
Yeah.
They've also upped the opportunity now for phone confirmation as well. I was surprised. I put a new client up today, and when I created their account, I was offered the opportunity to verify by phone. So that client, I gave them the expectation of 2 to 3 weeks before we could verify their account. They're verified and they're up and running, all in the space of a couple of hours.
I've had that as well too. So,
and one of the drawbacks, apart from it's not too bad because I only moved 3 or 4 suburbs, but someone did on there for me the other day, and I couldn't respond to it. It wouldn't let me respond. So
that's happened as well too, and that's because there's been some delays in approving those sort of things. So yeah. All right.
But it's important to have it. And
the one thing about all of this stuff, guys, is that remember it's free.
Yeah.
Right? You're not paying for the service. It's just it's an added bonus that you've got, and nobody knows what rules are going to change. Like they could start charging for all of this stuff later in the track or do anything. So it's not something you should rely on. But right now, it's the best tool out there to get seen locally.
Yeah, and it's Google's tool as well too, and it's for their purposes.
And a photo can contain written information in it.
What was that, Paul?
So you can add photos and videos, and unlike you talked about making posts and the posts disappearing after a while, a photo can have written information in it and it doesn't disappear.
Yep. All right, so that's Google My Business. We sort of got a bit off track there, but that was a good track to go down but it all starts with knowing who what your issues and problems are that your clients and customers have. Now, I've got a favourite way of finding that out before you even get there, and that is on Facebook. And so Facebook's got this fabulous thing there where people seem to enjoy telling us everything on Facebook, and they'll tell us what their problems and issues are there, and you'll quite often find that people will say things on Facebook that they won't tell you in person. And so one of the things that I do is, if I can find it here, where are we? I'm just looking to share my screen, and the screen share is not letting us do it, I think. Okay, let's try this. Okay. So one of the things about Facebook is you can go to sort of Facebook. I'm going to go to business, just because it's a relatively large group. And I happen to be a member of it, and you can really get drill down and find out what people are, what they're thinking. So where are we? Business. So they've got this little search function here. So if you click on that, so that was on the right hand side there. Well, this is on desktop. It's different on your mobile. But if you just search in a group and search, say, let's search how. So just search for that one word, how. And what that will do is it will filter the results. Oh, hang on, let me get into the group. I think I wasn't in the group. Business. Here we go. Oh, no, it was in the group. Okay. So we're just going to search for how. Okay, what comes up here are all of the posts that contain the word how. Now, generally, how is a question that people are asking. So here you go. Here's one here. Hi, I'm wondering how to work out the sale cost for a business. If anyone can point me in the right direction, I'd appreciate it. So that one there is a how question. So if you were a business broker or an accountant, like I know someone who's an accountant, and his specialty is helping people with their exit strategies. And so he's probably got a whole lot of information here that he can answer for that particular question here. So, and more than that, you can see there are 29 comments in here. So with those comments, you can drill down and you can start to see how, what people are commenting as well. So you start to get some sort of flavour of the sorts of things that people are saying. And in those there, what you'll find, you're looking for ones that have got a discussion in there, where hopefully the person that's posted is also coming back to discuss or to ask, some further questions. And it's in those further questions that you will really get the reason for them asking the question. So if we drill down on this one here, for instance, so we've got the author here. So this is Jodie Baker again. She said, "That's great. I have a buyer. I just need to know what it's worth to sell." So she's asked a question about sort of how to do something, but now we know she's actually got a buyer. So that there puts her into a different position, in that she's now wanting some sort of certainty about that or some way of doing it, because she's got a vested interest in that. So this is one that's unscripted. I've not searched for this one before, but if I was working with an accountant or sort of a business broker, then there's some really good opportunities that are in it. So when you're starting to craft your website, if you were an accountant that worked on exit strategies, then you can sort of think, well, here's a question that's being asked. I need to be able to address that somewhere in the website. And so that's just one question, and then you can go up and search the term what. So that was just how. So you could search through and just have a look for things that are related to your business, that are how questions. Then you can look for what questions. So what is another one as well. What have we got here? Let's have a look. So what's your take on quiet quitting? Quiet quitting is a term and a trend that emerged in mid-2022 from a viral TikTok video. The philosophy of quiet quitting is not abruptly leaving a job, but starting to do the minimum amount of work possible while keeping the job. Imagine applying this philosophy to school. So there's an interesting discussion that has come up here. There's a bit more in it as well, and there are 13 comments in this question as well too. So obviously, if you're in the HR space or you're a small business owner and you happen to serve small businesses in an area of giving advice, or again, this is probably good for an accountant or a business coach or an HR person. Again, I didn't even know there was even a term called quiet quitting. So being able to address that on your site is that there is a problem that someone's got. That's an important problem. So you start to drill down into that to find out what is the real issue. So obviously with quiet quitting, if people are just doing the minimum possible in their job, then that becomes a real problem for the company. So how do you deal with those sort of things there? So if you've got a page on sort of quiet quitting and sort of how to notice it or how to deal with it, then what happens is you start to get people curious, and that's where you start to generate some leads on your site, because you actually created a problem or raised a problem that maybe not many people knew existed. So with Facebook or these Facebook groups, there are 6 questions that I search for to go and find these sorts of, or drill down into these sorts of problems. And that is what, why, how, when, where, and who. So you can probably spend about 15 minutes and search through those questions there, and you'll start to get a feel for what is it that people are asking, what are they not saying, what sort of discussions are opening up, and that there starts to give you some sort of guide as to what you should be putting into a website, or the content you should be having in there that is going to be most helpful and is going to be ones that are going to generate sort of a reasonable amount of inquiry in there. Does that make sense?
Yep. Definitely.
So I've just really touched on that really quickly. I spent half a day going through that there, and how to take that concept there of drilling down in Facebook to get those problems and questions, and then starting to create content around that, so that you 2 things: 1, compelling content that the search engines will find, and 2, compelling content there that people are interested to read further, and not only read further, to ask for more information on. So really what you want on your site is information there that people are going to ask for more information on. And that's where you come to your website, in that if you've got people asking for more information, then you need to have some form of way to deliver that information. So the typical, I suppose, jargon around all that is a lead magnet. So a lead magnet is something that answers those deep questions that people either are unaware of. So you've raised the issue and they're not aware of it, and so they want to drill into it in a bit more depth, just to see whether it's a problem for them. So for that one, for quiet quitting, I would probably create a lead magnet, which was something like a questionnaire survey type of thing, or where people you could have some various traits there. So you could have traits there that would be identifiable, that they could see in their employees, and you could have a score at the end of it. What's the likelihood that your employees are quiet quitters? And so what you're doing is you're taking people through a process there of discovering, where their organisation fits and whether they need any help. So doing something like that, which is a self-discovery, helps lead them through to look, I need some help. I need to talk to someone about this. Does that make sense? So think about sort of a lead magnet is not necessarily just a PDF document, although it can be. It can be something like a survey like that. It can be something that is a bit more interactive, but it really needs to get people to think a bit more deeply about issues that maybe they haven't thought about, or things that are potentially an issue for them. So if you think about that for your business, what would it be for your business if you think about it? What are the issues or problems that people have that are maybe underlying that you haven't really sort of thought of, or they haven't really told you that you could start to raise in a web page? So that's sort of just rhetorical at the moment, but for you to start thinking about that there, if you jot that down, so you think about it, and then start to do some research in Facebook. Now, say Facebook rather than any other social media platform, because that's where people splurge, is generally on Facebook. So they'll tell you stuff there that maybe stuff you don't even want to know, but that's where they really vent and splurge. Probably more so than LinkedIn. LinkedIn is more that there's less of that splurging, although it's becoming more of a place of that, but certainly Facebook's got a whole lot more of that. People letting their feelings out and asking those sort of questions there. But then it does depend on your market as well too. So you could try it in LinkedIn and see how you go on LinkedIn. So, but you don't have groups in LinkedIn. Well, there are groups there, but they're not quite as prevalent as what's on Facebook. Any questions about that? Nope. All right. So that's the very first stage of getting to your website. So if you go and have a look at your website should be reflective of the issues, the deep issues and problems that people have that they are not aware of, or that they want a solution to. And all of you will have that as well. So who am I looking at? Paul, I think you definitely will with video, because there's a whole lot of stuff that people don't know about video. In fact, there's a whole lot of pitfalls there that they're not aware of. Aldrin with media, Annie with your animal work and animal parents. Jane definitely with art. You're dealing with people like me who sort of are not particularly artistic, but might think that they are. But you can get our pheromones and hormones really going to. Well, it's not pheromones and hormones, is it? It's oxytocin, isn't it?
Oxytocin and your endorphins.
That's right. That's right. So you've all got that. I think Andrew, who's here as well too, is a business coach and consultant. Definitely, some of those areas there in business. There are lots of areas there that people don't know that they don't know. So those are the areas you want to look at in your website, is trying to get into some of those areas that people didn't even know existed. All right. Is that? I mean, is this quite helpful? Yep. Okay. So once you've got that, then the next stage of it all is to think about your websites. How do you reflect that in your website? And the one thing I would be looking for in your websites is to have people saying things like, "That sounds like me," or "That's my situation," or "How did they know this is how I'm feeling?" The worst person you can get to critique your website is your husband, wife, mother-in-law, sister, brother, father, those people there, for the very reason that they don't know. Well, they're not your ideal client. They don't have the issues or problems that you've got. The people that you want critiquing your website are your brand new visitors. So, which is a really hard thing in the sense that you build your website, and then you've got to wait for your visitors to actually give you feedback on your website. But there's some good tools out there to help you what they call split testing. So Google Optimise. So Google Optimise is a really good free tool. If you just Google it, you can. What it allows you to do is to change the content on your website without changing the content on your website. So what that means is you might have a headline. So let's just grab. I'm just going to grab one of your websites here now. Let me share my screen. All right, I've just picked your website there, Annie, because it just happened to be in front of me. So what Google Optimise will do, you can see that on Cosmic Heart Intuitive, so Annie's website here, she's got a headline here: "Start a conversation with your animal or their soul in spirit." So Google Optimise will allow you to change this headline here, for instance, to something else. And so it might be something like, Are you curious about what where your pet's gone, and you know, sort of how they're feeling at the moment? So there might be two different headlines that you want to check. And so with Google Optimize, it will change the headline, what would you call it, on the go, so dynamically. So it doesn't actually change your website, but when people see it, it's a different headline, and it does it dynamically. And then it measures which one of those gets a better cut-through rate in terms of claiming your free guide. So there's a free guide here, you know, claim my free guide, and so you can test which headline gets the best download of the free guide. And then what you do is that you would just keep the headline that is the best one. Then once you've done that, you might then go and test something else. So you might test this button here. So claim my free guide, you might test and say download this free guide. And so you can test the button, so you know, whether it's claim or download. And so you can run through all of these experiments on Google Optimize, and it will and then you can, that's how you're testing it with your visitors, and they are telling you, they're giving the feedback as to what is the most important thing for them. So you're not guessing at it, you're not asking your, you know, your loved ones, you're actually getting real life data and information about, you know, what works for your website. And Google Optimize, if I can just go and grab that for you so you know where it is, I'll drop the link into chat. It's a free tool. You just grab a bit of code on Google Optimize. They give it to you. If you've got Google Tag Manager, or if you've got certainly WordPress website, it's easy to add it in. But most sites, you just add it into the head of your website, and that's how. And then from there, you're using the Google Optimize platform to test it. And so you would then just create what they call an experience. And so you've got things like A/B tests, which is what I was just talking about now, multivariate tests where you're testing more than one thing. You can have a redirect test, which means that you redirect people to 2 entirely different landing pages. Personalization, which means that you can target your page for particular customers as well. You can personalize it, and then you can have banners on it as well too. So, but in most cases, you're going to use an A/B split test. This is what you are wanting to do to test, and I've already been in the throes of setting up a test here. So once you do it, then you just run through these prompts here. It'll take you a wee while to work through it. You know, maybe half an hour or so to set it all up. Maybe not that long there. And then once you've done it, then you can preview it, and then you can run the test, and then you can start measuring the results. And Google Optimize will actually measure those results for you. You can see it will get you to link it to Google Analytics, so you link it to your Google Analytics account. If you don't have Google Analytics, definitely one of those tools that you need to have in place to link it. So you can see that it automatically pulled up all of my sites that I'm managing here. Somewhere in here, I'm going to find this one here, SmashGo. All right, and we're going to link that. And so this is where the tracking happens, is in Google Analytics. And you'll get a report, and you'll be able to log into Google Analytics to check it. So you really just need to run through all of these steps. It's not that difficult. You don't need a coder to do it. You can generally do it yourself, and they have got reasonably good documentation for this as well too. Oh, and they've got a reporting tab up the top right here. I've missed that one there. Nothing to report because I haven't hooked this one up, but you'll be able to get some reports as to which is your successful one there. But I've used this tool. It is an incredibly powerful tool, and it is free as well too. So it costs you nothing. It is part of the Google experience. Any questions on that there with Google Optimize? I'd definitely encourage you all to sort of jump into it and at least test the your main headline on your home page. Just one, to get an experience of how it's working, but you'll be surprised with the results once you start to play around with some of these things. Even if it's just a button that you're testing, just check it and test it and see which one gives you the best results. Obviously, you need to get some traffic there, so it's no good if you've got no traffic to your website. So when you do it, make sure that you're active on social media, drive people to your website so that you've got interest there going there. So do some of that marketing, whether it's paid or organic. You probably just need to do organic marketing, so you get some reasonable amount of traffic there, and that will start. Then you'll get some reasonable results to start to gauge what's happening with it. All right. Let's just jump back to. You happy for us to have a bit of a look at your site, Annie?
I'll charge you $10 each.
Excellent. Like that. Good sort of capitalist intent.
Yep, go for it.
All right. So generally, the website, there are some key things on your site that do help with your conversions. One of them is this. So it's really good to see that Annie's got this call to this guide on the front here, and your homepage is really what we call your traffic director. People will land on your homepage, and on your homepage, that's where they decide where they want to go from there. So make sure you've got links to your other areas in your website from your homepage. Definitely have your call to action up there. Okay, so 2 sections for animals for people. That's great. So that's really good as well too for animals for people. So you're identifying why people are there. So it's good to have these we'll call those junction boxes, where people are, or people that are on your site are identifying who they are and what they're after. So in this case here, got one for animals. Do you think animals trying to tell you something? Do you want to know how your animal's feeling? So she's got these sort of questions here. Yes, that's me. Go and learn more. Or for people, do you have a family member, friend in spirit you'd want to connect with? Do you have questions or messages for them to convey? So 2 entirely different audiences. And so Annie's got a way of addressing both those audiences, which is great. Oh, you've had a book launch as well too, which is awesome. Good having a video on the homepage. That means that people stay longer. You've got books there to buy. Okay, and then here are your services to start your journey with. So these are really good as well too, in terms of where do I want to start with this. So you're giving people some direction as to where to go. All right, and we'll scroll through and see what's at the bottom here. All right. So at the bottom is my favorite area there. And this is where you get some of the Google love as well too. Good to see you've got a disclaimer down there. What's your disclaimer? These are simple things that really help. That they just tick the boxes for Google. Okay, so that's for you. The other thing that you should have at the bottom of every page on every website are your terms of use. So terms of use are things like terms of use and privacy policy. And you can pick those up. Where do you get those? There are places around the web that you can pick up those there. I wouldn't necessarily recommend, although you could go to a lawyer to get one done up, but there are some generic ones that have already been done up, which you can use. Geez, I'm just trying to think the name of one of the services. It'll come to me later on. But yeah, you should have your terms of use in there and your privacy policy at the bottom. Google actually looks for that. So it is one of those things that puts a tick in the box. If you don't have it, it does negatively impact you. If you do have it, it's really just a tick in the box, which helps to elevate things. So all you're doing is you're trying to tick Google's boxes to get you up there is one thing. Second thing is to make sure that probably the primary thing is to make sure it's good for humans as well. But that little thing just really helps to elevate it. Now, in terms of your calls to action, I'm just looking at, if we go to, we've got 2 pages here. We've got for animals and for people. Let's have a look at those. Oh, good to see at the top here, on the top right-hand side, primary call to action. So, which is book now. So this is an easy path for people to come and contact you, is to have that that booking form. There is one thing that I often do recommend having up on the top right, and that is your phone number. So it just depends on how you are with taking phone calls and whatever, but if possible, having a phone number, because people, so there are people out there that just want to pick up the phone and call you. So you've got a box down there in terms of a messenger box, which is great. That's the second best thing as well too, having that. So there's a few ways for people to contact you here. But yeah, if at all possible, get a phone number up the top. Even if you're on an e-commerce store. Sometimes an e-commerce store, people just want to talk to you. They want to buy. They've just got one question, and it's that one question is what is going to take them over the line to buy, and it's just not answered on your website. Well, and that'll also help you to, for your frequently asked questions. All right, let's have a look at this page here. This one is for animals. So part of my purpose is to make a difference for animals. So we've got about that. So Facebook community. So join the community, and then you've got sort of your sessions in there as well too. Okay, so these are your primary calls to action, are booking the sessions. What have we got? We've got a book here. Does that take you to the... I would link that book to Amazon as well, so that if people will click on that. I just did it now, and you might find someone would.
I think the two on the front page are linked through to Amazon.
Yeah,
Amazon US and Amazon Australia.
Just link them all. Just link all the images, because they might land on this page here, and they might not ever get to your other pages. And so that way there you can link it. You've got the buttons down the bottom here, but I do the image as well too.
Okay, thank you.
Look at those beautiful faces, eh? Join the Facebook community. Now let's have a look at that. Excellent. You've got that taking them to a separate tab. So anything that goes to social media, make sure that it opens up a separate tab. It's not opening over the top of your website and they disappear off your website. The one thing you can do with a page like this as well too is you'll find that there are people that are not ready to book. Now, some of them will join the community, which is great. That's a secondary call to action. Some of them are not quite ready to book now here. So what I would offer in this, on a services page like this here, is another lead magnet, or another way to capture someone's email address. And the reason for that is that if they are maybe just looking around, or they haven't quite made a decision yet, then it does give them something that they can take away, gives you their email address, where you can then continue that conversation through your CRM. And so that obviously your lead magnets, or any place where you capture people's email addresses, should be connected to your CRM. And then you can start those conversations. So you've got your, like on your homepage, you've got your general downloadable document, but on each of your service pages, the next thing is to have one that's specific for each of your services on the service page. And that will increase your interactions, and it will increase the leads on your website as well too. So you would have one on the animals page, and you would have one on the people's page, dealing with both animals and people. So it could be answering more questions about what you're doing, and it could possibly even repeat some of what you've got in these sessions here, with a bit more detail as well too. And then what you can do is that people don't know you yet, and so you can by having a conversation with them from your CRM with marketing, then you can just sort of warm them up. It can be well, what is a conversation that you're having with you? What does it involve? What are some outcomes there? What are the common questions people ask? Maybe having some case studies about what had happened. So just include all of those in your emails. You'll find that that'll increase your conversion rate, because people are getting to know you, they're starting to trust you, and from that you'll get some conversions coming back through that as well too. And if they've joined your Facebook group, then they'll be seeing you on Facebook, and they'll be having email communication as well.
So would you put little videos on these pages as well, like an intro video to me, or would you put that on the front page? Or
definitely be good for this. So yeah, on a page like this here, a video would be really helpful on this, explaining what it is you do, and how people become involved, or why they might even be interested. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So really what you're thinking, really what you're looking at doing, is turning this page into another home page, but just for this specific topic. And then the people page, it's almost like another home page as well too. So just imagine if this is the only page people found. Is there enough information in there for them to make a decision and to give them everything they need without them clicking through anywhere else?
Your video on that page needs to be really on topic for that page.
Yep.
And likewise with every other page in your website. And coming back right back to the home page and what Nick was saying a while ago about it's where you find where you want to go in the site. Same deal with the video on your home page.
Yep.
Sure.
That's absolutely right, and you know, it's like when you're on your services page, that's an even more specific video only about this, and it really is because they're possibly not even interested in people, you know, sort of talking to people. They're only interested in talking to animals. So you wouldn't even bring up talking to people in here. You're only just talking about animals. If they're interested in people, they'll be on the people's page.
Can I ask a question of Annie, because you've got a wide screen, but a very narrow and deep line, you know, of content. It's a lot of scrolling. Is that the template that you chose, or are you restricted by?
I think, Paul, that might be my computer screen.
Okay.
I've got a very wide screen computer.
Just that there's a lot of scrolling to happen there.
Yeah.
Yep. I think there's only like about 2 or 3 services there and the book.
Yeah, it's probably not too. You're better to have narrower columns than wider columns. So that's probably okay. I mean, it could be a little bit wider. But one thing I would do with it, though, is to left align the text. Having center aligned text looks good. It's difficult to read, you know, particularly for scanners. So often left aligned text is an easier read for people. But that's a little thing. But that's, you know, about your user experience. The other thing I would say too is when we say left aligned, don't justify your text. Justified is where you got.
That's worse than being centered.
Yeah, where you have straight lines down both sides. That makes it difficult to read as well too. So sometimes you're just sacrificing aesthetics for you know, what's, you know, usable for people.
The readability score.
Yep. And those videos and calls to action, or sort of what do you call it, lead magnet, you really only need them on your services page and your home page. The other page that you would that I would consider putting it on are your blog pages as well too. So so if we look at, say, a particular blog post, I would have you might have a link or a lead magnet on your blog page too that related to, in some way, shape or form, you know, the topic of that. So you might have 3 or 4 lead magnets. This is obviously an animals one, so you'd have an animal, you know, talking with your animal lead magnet on this page. If there was a blog post about people, then obviously it would be one that was about people. And that just gives you some additional opportunities. If people have happened to find you through a blog post, which often they will in Google search, then you know, having your lead magnet there helps as well too. And probably what you can do on a page like this on your posts is to have something like an exit pop. So an exit pop is a pop-up that, as people navigate to the back button or back up to the URL bar, which means that they are about to leave the site, you have a pop-up that offers them a lead magnet. So that there can dramatically increase your leads that you're getting off the site, or certainly build your list as well. Just one word of caution about those pop-ups is that on mobile devices, you generally want to disable them on mobile devices because they become annoying. And Google has got it doesn't like them as well, and can penalise you if you've got pop-ups on mobile devices, particularly ones that are difficult to close. So if at all possible, just have your pop-up on your desktop version, possibly your tablet version, but not the mobile version. You've done a lot of work.
That's a very good point that you just made there, Nick, because I'm with Shopify. So my website is a Shopify template, and I'm trying to get the pop-up to not come up on every page. So now you've given me more homework. Only the home page and not on mobile. What about laptop and iPad?
Laptop's fine. So having pop up on laptop's fine. That's treated as a computer screen. And iPad's probably, or with tablet is fine as well too. As long as it doesn't take up the whole screen. It just takes up the part of the middle, and you've got a button there to close it easily as well.
Yeah.
So it's really just phones that it becomes a problem. Are your pop-ups coming from your CRM, or are they inbuilt into Shopify?
No, I'm pretty sure it's inbuilt into Shopify.
So they probably have got an option there to disable them for mobile devices.
And also for other pages.
And other pages, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I drive a lot of traffic to the paint and sit page.
Yeah.
The majority of my traffic that I try and drive to is to the paint and sit page. I don't want the pop-up coming up on that page, because that's not why they're there.
It's taking them away from what your primary call to action is on that page, and you don't want that. So so you should be able to disable it for that page. So I'd just be looking at some of those Shopify settings or some of their help documents on how to do that.
You always give me homework.
That's my job.
You make me spend money and give me work.
Well, then that's been a successful night for me. Maybe not for you. And that's a good point too. One thing that I see over and over again too are pop-ups that are not disabled on things like checkout pages, login pages, and sort of those functional pages. You want to make sure they're disabled across those pages as well, and they're only enabled on the pages that you want. Otherwise, you're creating more friction for people, particularly if they're on checkout pages and you're wanting them to pay. They've got to keep dismissing a pop-up. Then you'll lose some customers there. They'll just get annoyed and they'll just leave. All right, well, that's probably our segment for tonight. So has that been at all helpful at all?
Yeah, you did well, Nick, given you had short notice. Well done.
It was very short notice, so I thought, what do I know?
Yes, some very useful tips through that, Nick. Very, very good.
Yeah,
Really good.
Thank you
Always
for
good.
being on my site as well, Nick. I appreciated that.
Actually, I'm impressed. You've done quite a bit of work on your site, so it's starting to look really good. And
It's still getting some more work done on it, but I've just written down all the things I have to add into it. I'm in the process of developing some more lead magnets, so linking them to the blogs is an outstanding idea. So
excellent.
Work in progress.
Well, I'll tell you, it's always a work in progress, and next time you come back after you've all done that, I'll give you some more homework as well too.
Thanks.
Nick, there's some questions on Facebook too by Kerry Joy. She says, is Google Analytics a fee or free service?
Okay, thank you. Yes, it is free. Google Analytics is a free service, as is Google Optimise, as is Google My Business. They're all free. So, yep, sweet. Excellent.
Okay, and then she had a few other questions there too. So I don't know if you want to answer it live here or just...
Okay, no, that's right. I've just got that.
And
up
do you
here
need
now.
a
Can it
PO?
be a PO box?
Yeah.
Yeah, so for Google My Business, that's a really good question. Can it be a PO box? It cannot be a PO box. It has to be a physical address. But what you can do, I believe, is, and Jeff might be able to, is Jeff still here? Yep, Jeff might be able to give some clarity on that, is that once you've got your card and verified it, then you can then choose just to show a suburb, not your actual street address. Is that right, Jeff?
That's right. Yeah. And the thing is that, especially if you're offering services which are not at your premises, like a plumber, you don't go to a plumber to get your taps fixed. You call him to your place. So he's not doing services at his own premises. So he's allowed to not display his address.
How can you switch it off though, Jeff? Because I don't remember putting it in, but somehow it's linked on the computer, and I found my address on a few places where I've never put it in.
Yeah, well, you've got to put your address in so they can send you the postcard.
Yep.
But there'll be a way there that keeps changing the way you set it up. I haven't set one up for a couple of weeks, so they keep changing the way you set it up. So it should be there somewhere where
I'll
you
go
just
back and have a look.
say, it's that the people are not coming to your address. They're not coming to you for your particular services.
So just have a look at some of those display settings. The other thing too is Google's got some reasonably good documentation. So if you have a look at their help guide, you should be able to find out, in their help guides how to switch that off as well.
I actually did use my PO box. So because my PO box is linked to a small Australia Post, where there's probably only 100 mailboxes in total. I actually put the street address of Australia Post, and because it has my business name on it, they then put my Google card in my post box. But because my business is an online business, I just was not going to have my street address coming up at all. So I tried it and it worked.
Yeah, that is a really good hack, because you can do that. Any mail that you can just use a post office, a physical address, and any mail that you get there will generally get to you.
Yeah.
And you can go into the post office. Like if you don't have a PO box there, you can go into a post office and ask, have they received any mail for you, and they'll give it to you.
Yeah, I've heard people doing that when they're on holidays and they're moving from one town to another, short stays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do something similar. I happen to have a MBE box, mailboxes, etc., and they have a physical address as well. So my physical address is the address of that business location, and they've got lots and lots of those there as well. You could have a lawyer's office, solicitor's office as well, or accountant's office. Sometimes they offer that sort of service as well too. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Kerry, as well too. All right. I think that's all the questions. Thanks, Aldwin, for answering those online. Excellent. All right. Well, that is our session for tonight. Thanks, everyone, for coming along. I hope you found it useful. If you've got any other questions, or you do want to have a sort of a more comprehensive look at your website, feel free to reach out. More than happy to help with that sort of thing, give you some advice, some tips and some leads into where you can go to help to improve things. If you want to watch this again, or for those that missed it, it will be up on YouTube tomorrow afternoon on the SmashGo YouTube channel. And if you subscribe to that channel and click the little bell, then you'll get a notification to your email when it's up and running. Also, this Thursday, for those of you that are online and having lunch at 12 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time, there is a Zoom webinar for half an hour with a bunch of people talking about, what's happening leading up, or how to manage your business into what looks to be a recession coming up. Even if there's not a recession, it is still helpful as well, because it makes your business a little bit more robust and helps you to manage your way through good times as well as poor times as well too. So I think, look at that, the link is in chat. So if you'd like to come along to that, come to that. It's only half an hour, 20 minutes of talking, 10 minutes of Q&A, and there are various different speakers speaking there. And it's a 6-week series. Week 1 was last week. Week 2 is this coming Thursday at 12 midday Australian Eastern Standard Time. And I think that would be a wrap for today. So thanks everyone for coming along. I hope you found it useful. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast. You can also find me on social media and online. Just search for Business Owners Smashing It Online and Nik Cree, spelled Nikree, all one word. If you like this and want to hear more, subscribe now. Until next time, don't be a slave to your business. Get your business working for you.